Atlas, and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be reading Fairytales in a really, really soft voice, because who doesn't like being read to, am I right? My first personal experience with ASMR was, although I didn't know that that's what it was called at the time, was when my grandpa used to read to me in a very, very soft voice these Disney, like I think it was Aladdin storybooks, and one of these ones had like, sounds that you could press. You remember those ones? Yeah. And it was like crazy tingles, and I thought that it could be fun to make that into a video that I could then share with other people. Yeah, original idea, but I thought it could be quite fun. Anyway, today we are reading from Grimm Fairytales, which are great because they're incredibly dark, but they're classics. Let's do it. Rapunzel. Rapunzel plus my own stomach noises. Anyway. There were once a man and a woman. Oh yeah, I'm going to be doing some like weird sketchy animations too, just for fun. There were once a man and a woman who had long in vain wished for a child. At length the woman hoped that God was about to grant her desire. These people had a little window at the back of their house from which a splendid garden could be seen, which was full of the most beautiful flowers and herbs. It was, however, surrounded by a high wall, and no one dared to go into it, because it belonged to an enchantress who had great power and was dreaded by all the world. One day, the woman was standing by this window and looking into the garden, when she saw a bed which was planted with the most beautiful rampion, brackets, Rapunzel. I think that's what the rampion is called, or another name for rampion. Let's go with that. And it looked so fresh and green that she longed for it and had the greatest desire to eat some. What is rampion? Why would you? Is it like a radish? I don't know. Anyway, can someone look it up, please? This desire increased every day, and as she knew that she could not get any of it, she quite pined away and looked pale and miserable. Then her husband was alarmed and asked, "What aileth thee, dear wife?" What an attentive guy. "Ah," she replied, "if I can't get any of the rampion, which is in the garden behind our house, I shall die." It's quite a full-on response. The man, who loved her, thought, "Sooner than let thy wife die, bring her some of the rampion thyself, lest it cost thee what it will." And that's a smart and logical response from the husband. In the twilight of the evening, he clambered down over the wall into the garden of the enchantress, hastily clutched a handful of the rampion, and took it to his wife. She had once made herself a salad of it, and ate it with much relish. I think the relish there isn't like a tomato relish, I think it's just with enthusiasm. She, however, liked it so much, so very much, that the next day she longed for it 3 times as much as before. If he was to have any rest, her husband must once again descend into the garden. In the gloom of the evening, therefore, he let himself down again, but when he had clambered down the wall, he was terribly afraid because he saw this enchantress, standing before him. "How canst thou dare," she said with an angry look, "to descend into my garden and steal my rampion like a thief? Very, very fair point. Thou shalt suffer for it." "Ah," answered he, "let mercy take the place of justice. I only made my mind up to do it out of necessity. My wife saw your rampion from the window and felt such a longing for it that she would have died if she had not gotten some to eat." Then the enchantress allowed her anger to be softened and said to him, "If the case be as thou sayest, I will allow thee to take away with thee as much rampion as thou wilt. Only I make one condition. Thou must give me the child which thy wife will bring into the world. It shall be well treated, and I will care for it like a mother." Okay, that's nice. The man, in his terror, consented to everything, and when the woman was brought to bed, the enchantress appeared at once, gave the child the name of Rapunzel, and took it away with her because of the rampion, which is also apparently called Rapunzel. Rapunzel grew into the most beautiful child beneath the sun. When she was 12 years old, the enchantress shut her into a tower, which lay in a forest and had neither stairs nor door, but quite at the top was a little window. When the enchantress wanted to go in, she placed herself beneath this and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down thy hair to me." Rapunzel had magnificent long hair, fine as spun gold, and when she heard the voice of the enchantress, she unfastened her braided tresses, wound them round one of the hooks of the window above, and then the hair fell 20 ells down, and the enchantress climbed up it. After a year or two, that was quick, it came to pass that the king's son rode through the forest and went by the tower. He then heard a song which was so charming that he stood still and listened. This was Rapunzel, who in her solitude passed her time by letting her sweet voice resound. The king's son wanted to climb up to her and looked for the door of the tower, but none was to be found. He rode home, but the singing had so deeply touched his heart that every day he went out into the forest and listened to it. Once, when he was thus standing behind a tree, he saw that an enchantress came there, and he heard how she cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down thy hair." Then Rapunzel let down the braids of her hair, and the enchantress climbed up to her. "If that is the ladder by which one mounts, I for once will try my fortune," said he, and the next day when it began to grow dark, he went to the tower and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down thy hair." Immediately the hair fell down, and the king's son climbed up. At first Rapunzel was terribly frightened when a man, such as her eyes had never yet beheld, came to her. Has she seen a man ever before? Anyway, but the king's son began to talk to her quite like a friend, and told her that his heart had never been so stirred that it had to let him have no rest, and he had been forced Dame Gothel. What a name. And she said yes. And later, Dingley. And laid her hand in his. She said, I will willingly go away with thee, but I do not know how to get down. Bring with thee a skein of silk every time that thou comest, and I will weave a ladder with it. And when that is ready, I will descend, and thou wilt take me on thy horse. They agreed that until the time should come to her every evening, for the old woman came by day. The enchantress remarked nothing of this, until once Rapunzel said to her, Tell me, Dame Gothel, how it happens that you are so much heavier for me to draw up than the young king's son. He is with me in a moment. Oh my gosh, Rapunzel, what have you done? Ha! Thou wicked child, cried the enchantress. What do I hear thee say? I thought I had separated thee from all the world, and yet thou hast deceived me. She has. In her anger, she clutched Rapunzel's beautiful dresses, wrapped them twice around her left hand, seized a pair of scissors with the right, and snip, snap, they were cut off, and the lovely braids lay on the ground. And then she was so pitiless that she took poor Rapunzel into a desert, where she had to live in great grief and misery. That's so harsh. On the same day, however, that she cast out Rapunzel, the enchantress in the evening fastened the braids of hair, which she had cut off the hook of the window. And when the king's son came and cried, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down thy hair, she let the hair down. You can see where this is going. The king's son ascended, but he did not find his dearest Rapunzel above, but the enchantress, who gazed at him with wicked and venomous looks. Ah, she cried mockingly, thou wouldst fetch thy dearest, but the beautiful bird sits no longer sitting in the nest. The cat has got it, and will scratch out thy eyes as well. What a metaphor. Rapunzel is lost to thee, thou wilt never see her more. The king's son was beside himself with pain, and in despair he leapt down from the tower. Oh my god. Sorry. He leapt down from the tower. He escaped with his life. How? But the thorns into which he fell pierced his eyes. I guess that's why she was going on about him not being able to see her anymore. Man. Then he wandered around quite blind about the forest, ate nothing but roots and berries, and did nothing but lament and weep over the loss of his dead wife. Thus he roamed about in misery for some years, and at length came to the desert where Rapunzel, with the twins to which she had given birth. When? I guess it's been several years. Who got her pregnant? Just a desert boy. A boy and a girl who lived in wretchedness. He heard a voice, and it seemed so familiar to him that he went towards it. And when he approached, Rapunzel knew him and fell on his neck and wept. I guess that's nice. favourably received, and they lived for a long time afterwards, happy and contented. The end. That was happier than I expected. I mean, it took a bit of a dark turn in the middle, obviously, when he fell out of a tire, and a tire fell out of a tower and impaled his eyes on thorns. But that was good. That was epic. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I did. And